Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be recapping my round 3 game that I played in the Lina Grumette Memorial tournament. Now going into this game, I was at 2 out of 2, and in the third round I am playing an international master, and I believe it's actually like the number 2 or number 3 seed, not the number 1 seed like I said the last video. But anyways, let's get on with the game. So I'm black, and I played the Sicilian defense, knight f3, knight c6, d4, the open Sicilian, takes, knight f6, knight c3, e5, knight db5 and d6. It is like the Sveshnikov variation. You could go bishop g5, which is the pelican, which is a little bit more common, or you could be a little bit more aggressive like he did, and he went knight d5 in this game. I took, take, e takes d5, and now you have two options. You can go knight to e7 or knight to b8. I choose knight b8, but either option, there are fairly simple plans for both sides. White is going to try to go c4, b4, and try to attack on the queen side, kind of like a King's Indian, and I'm going to try to go f5 and try to attack on the king side. So there's a lot of similarities in this position to King's Indian, where you also want to be attacking as white on the queen side and as black on the king side. So after c4, I go a6. Now I did see him, he had this move queen a4, and after takes, queen takes a8, I'm just down in exchange. So after queen a4, I was going to go bishop d7, and after queen a3, attacking the pawn, my plan was to take, and go knight to d7, and get my knight to c5. After takes, I can maybe put my pawn on a5, put my knight on c5. I thought this position was totally fine, but he just goes knight c3, which is fine as well. Bishop e7, bishop e2, castles, and then go f5. And here I have a few ideas. I could maybe go f4, maybe, although it's highly unlikely because after f4, you can see all of these light squares, and maybe after a move like knight e4 or bishop d3, all the light squares are under control and I can't really do anything. I don't want to go bishop f5, because after takes, knight e4, my attack is pretty much halted. So after castles f5, he can try to go b4 and c5, well I'll try to go maybe e4, or maybe g5 and f4, or g5 and g4 if I want in the future. Maybe even bring my rook to g6 and attack the king. But he does something that takes the game into a different turn. He goes a4. I don't know the exact saying, but he goes a4, which is I thought was a little weird because I knew if I just went knight d7, he can maybe go a5, trying to get his knight to a4, or he could just go b4, trying to get c5. And I'm like, okay, well I didn't want him to get try to get c5, so I thought I'll just go a5. The point is, after a5, I'm now controlling the dark squares on the queen side, or so I thought, because I'm actually stopping b4, and it's an incredibly long process for him to get b4, because I'm not just going to let him get b4. So after rook b1, knight a6, he may even have to go something like knight a2. In that scenario, now I can start attacking the other side, because this move b4, it's a very slow plan for him, and by the time he gets it, I can start attacking the king side. But after a5, he played this move that I actually didn't even consider. He played c5, and now the point is I took the pawn, and now he has a passed. I'm up a pawn, but in compensation, he has a passed pawn, and he has control over the light squares in the king side, or in the queen side, and I'm underdeveloped. So after d takes c5, he plays move bishop c4, and I go bishop d6, blockading the pawn. And it's a very messy position. He goes knight b5, and I go h6. And you might think, h6, that's a really weird move. Why would you do that? Well, I didn't really know what I was gonna do here. But then I found a move, which is b6, and just try to get my bishop b7 and try to develop. I thought, okay, well, if we get b6 and lock these pawns in shape, then I won't really have any pawn weaknesses in the future, other than maybe e5, but I can just push e4 in the future. But after b6, I saw, oh wait, he has bishop g5, and after queen d7, that actually loses the game due to a tactic. Takes, and bishop to e7. And the point is, if I go queen takes e7, he has pawn d6 discovered check, and I lose my queen, and probably lose the game after something like queen d5. He has a passed pawn, and the queen is super powerful in these types of positions. And after bishop e7, if I just go like queen here, let's say to g6, he takes, and maybe I can hold the position for a little while, but I just felt this was losing in the long run. But after knight b5, b6, bishop g5, turns out I can actually just take the bishop, and I didn't want to do this because after like something like queen b3, I felt that he was coming in, and I didn't really have a strong blockade for long. But apparently the computer says just ignore the pawn b6, just go f4, and after queen takes b6, he does not now have sights on this h3 square, so I can just go bishop h3 and attack the king. Well, I didn't see all of this, and even if I did, I didn't want to go through all of it, and that would have taken me forever. So I just go h6 and stop bishop g5, but that creates a few holes around the king. And remember these two squares, h5 and g6, because they will be very key later on. He goes f4, I go e4, and here he goes bishop d2, and I see the plan. He wants to go bishop c3, and then trade and go bishop e5. Like, let's say if I go like here, here, he's going to take, and go bishop e5. After here, maybe d6. I didn't like that his pawn was all the way over here, and I didn't really know what I was going to do there. But then I found an idea. I was just going to go queen e7, and he goes rook a3 in the game, but if he goes here, I just go knight to d7. And he can't, like, get his bishop in. But he goes rook a3, and I go knight d7, and he gets his rook to g3. And the point is, he's going to try and go bishop d3 and try to attack the king. And now his rook is very active, and my pieces are sort of a little bit passive here. So I try to go to knight f6, try to consolidate, try to get all my pieces developed and in the game. Especially my bishop. Maybe something like b6, bishop b7 in the future, I thought. And he goes bishop c3, and I'm like, wait a minute, now that my knight is on f6, it's not guarding the e5 square, he's going to take and go bishop e5. Like, let's get here. Oh, actually, that's really bad, because that's a skewer. Let's say that's not a skewer, though. And this pawn, I thought this was still very dangerous. But the computer actually says you can just allow it. And I didn't feel like allowing it at the time. It just felt super dangerous to allow. So I found another plan after a little bit of thinking. And actually, keep in note, I actually have like, this is like, the time control is 90 minutes with a 30-second increment. And now I only have like 20 minutes left, and we're on move 20. And we don't get extra time until move 40. So all I'm getting is like a 30-second increment after my moves. And I'm just taking super long to think. I've been taking super long to think after c5 because I just never considered the move. And like, I just felt it was worse and I had to take all this time. And I just kept on missing all of these ideas. So I go rook e8. And I'm like, okay, if he takes bishop e5, I'm going to sack the exchange. The point for the exchange, I'm going to get an extra pawn. And I'm going to try to get some more development. Combined with this pawn e4, which is a protected passed pawn, I felt I was better here because I had more things going my way. And I felt my pieces were actually going to become more active than his in the future. Like, he can go d6 and give a discover check, but I just hide my king and he can't go d7. So I'm just going to go bishop d7 and get my rook to e8 and try and push my pawn in the future. But actually, I missed something very key and crucial. Remember when I told you to remember these two squares, h5 and g6? After bishop f6, queen f6, queen h5, I'm actually like close to losing. I'm actually probably just even losing right now. And the point is, he's attacking my rook on e8, he's attacking my on d6, and he's threatening rook g6 coming in. So I go rook d8. And the point is that I'm going to go after rook g6, queen f7. So he can't take because I go queen h5. So I thought, okay, he's going to go queen h6, and I'm going to go rook to a6. I'm just going to try to hold everything together. And I thought, okay, I know I'm worse here. Like, maybe I'm probably worse here after rook g5, maybe like +1 or +2. But I thought, okay, I'm not losing here. Maybe I can go bishop f8 now. And like, after something like this, maybe I have some chances to hold in the future. But for some reason, he didn't take, because I think after rook h6, he's not like completely winning here. There's no like knockout punch, and I think he wanted to like get this like knockout punch and just end the game now. So remember when I said after queen f6 he can't take? Well, actually he can take. And I like half considered this move because I saw, oh wait, he's gonna take my rook and he has his passed pawn. But like he wouldn't do this, right? Because he's giving up his queen. But he did it because I thought he was gonna go d6 and he's just gonna push his pawn. And actually after d6, I'm like worse here. He's gonna get d7. And actually there's this like almost insane variation after d6 bishop e6, where you take on c4, d7, you go queen e2. And there's two winning moves. You can go rook h8 check, or you can go rook a1, and then you go e3. But actually after e3, you go rook h8 check or something like that, and then you go like I think like d8 queen, or like I don't even know like the variation, but it's something like that, which is completely insane to go into. But he doesn't even go d6. He actually goes knight c7, which threw me off. But I'm like, okay, if rook b8, he wants to go d6 now, and he wants to like maybe get his knight in, I thought. So I didn't want to get for him to get d6. So, and I actually saw this idea, which is a really nice idea. It's the best move in the position, queen h4. And after rook e8, I go queen f6, and I give up my rook. I'm like, what are you thinking, giving up your rook? But actually, I go queen d4 check, king h1, queen takes c4. And after like if rook d1, I just take, and that's winning, and that's completely winning. I'm forking both the rooks. And after king h1, queen takes c4, maybe something like rook here. I thought about just taking and just pushing my pawn. And the point is, both his rooks are not coordinated. His knight's completely out of the game, and I have this dangerous passed pawn. So I thought I was at least gonna get a draw in this position. Maybe even try to win. Maybe like come in and try and take these pawns. So he goes b3. He doesn't allow any of that. I'm like, okay, let's save my rook. And he goes rook d1, and I'm like, okay, I have to blockade the pawn. So let's go queen d6. He goes knight to b5, trying to force his pawn through. And I take on f4, which is not the most accurate. I thought I should take on f4 because first of all it's a pawn, and second of all I'm getting my queen in. But actually I can start playing for the win with this move queen to d7. And the point is, after queen d7, he goes rook e5. I should go queen f7, allow him to go d6, because now I'm gonna go queen h5, attack the rook. He can't go d7 because I just take the rook with check and take the pawn. It's completely winning. And by the time he defends his rook, I should just go bishop d7 after like maybe something like rook c5, rook d8. The position is like completely blockaded, and maybe I can put my bishop on c6 and try to push my pawn, and maybe get something towards this king and try to win. That's what the computer wanted me to do. And I didn't go queen d7 because I was never planning on to, and I never even wanted to take time to consider the move, because I thought after, like, this is just insane to allow. Like, my queen is blocking my own bishop, and like it's blockading the pawn. The queen should be blockading the pawn. So I just go queen takes f4. Then he goes d6, I go e3, goes rook f1, stopping queen to f2. And here I go queen g5, and I have an idea. If he just goes d7, I was gonna take rook takes b8, bishop c6. And I'm like, oh my god, like I'm winning here. Like I'm winning here because I'm attacking this. I'm threatening checkmate. If g3, I have this move queen to g4. I'm coming in, and I'm also threatening maybe e2. And I thought, oh, I'm just winning here. Like, how is this not like winning? But then he plays move knight a7. I'm like, oh my god, I can't go here because after takes bishop c6, knight c6, I'm just losing here. I've nothing. Like he just goes d7. So after knight a7, I have like about 5 to 6 minutes here, and I'm thinking, what is my idea? What should I do in the position? And I'm thinking, and I still have no idea what I'm gonna do. Like I'm thinking for so long, and then I look to my clock, and I have like 30 seconds left. And so I just slapped the move at e2 because that was like the one move I was thinking about. And the point is, if rook takes e2, I just go bishop d7 and blockade. And if he takes, I'm gonna go bishop e6. And the point of rook takes b8, I was gonna go queen e3 check, rook f2, and c4, and try to attack this knight. And maybe after rook b7, c b3. I was hoping for this position and that I would maybe have something in the future. But actually, what I just missed is he plays the best move, which is to just take the bishop, and it's losing because I don't have any counterplay. His king's completely safe now, and I'm just down material. I go rook d8, blockade, knight b5, rook d7. He slowly gets all of his pieces to where he wants them. I go queen d2. I try to get something, but after check, king h8, bishop f1, he hits time control. He gets all the time in the world to think, and I'm just losing here. I go rook d8, rook e6. He drives his rook in next to my king. I go f4, trying to get like f3 and to try to open up the king, but he just goes rook f6, and the idea is to get both his rooks on the 7th rank and to try to push d7. I just take the pawn, d7, king g8, trying for me something like this, hoping that this would be a draw. This is actually a draw, I think, after king e7. But he just goes knight d6, and I resign because he's threatening rook e8. So overall, this was a very tough game. I had a very tough time here, especially with my time management. I was 20 minutes in on like move 20. It was just like insane, the time management. And he caught me off guard, this like c5 move. And although I was fine, I felt like he knew what he was doing in this position. Like, he's been in these types of positions before, obviously because he's an IM. And he finds this nice idea because I created too many holes around my king. But he did give me a way back in with his rook d6 queen sack. Maybe a little bit too fancy here. He should just take the pawn h6. And this was a draw. This is actually a draw for very long. And I could have played for the win here with this move queen d7. Just a really hard move to find. Maybe if I was a better player, I could have found it. And it's still a draw, but it's a little bit harder. And then with all the time, with the bad time management coming to bite me in the back, and I just blundered here. Bishop e6, going rook e6, and it's just an easy win from there on out. So I now stood at 2 out of 3, and that's basically it. So my next video will be recapping my round 4 game. That is also a kind of interesting game. So yeah, I hope you all learned from this game, and thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.